All right, we are back with another conversation with a very special guest today, my buddy Nick here, Nicholas Yates. You want to say hello, Nick?
Hi.
For context, everybody, Nick is a recent firm owner. He just acquired a firm very recently. We're going to get into all the details about all of those different things, but really excited to have you on, Nick, and sharing your journey. I know there's been some ups, there's been some downs, and just want to jump into it and let everybody know a little bit more about your story because it is a really awesome one. Maybe if you want to, Nick, just kind of quickly introduce yourself, your firm, maybe some services you offer as well.
Yeah, definitely. My name's Nicholas Yates. I have an office in Sacramento and in Capitola, California. Office's name is ARC Tax and Advisory. I've been doing taxes now for about 11 years. Went to Sac State, have a degree in accounting. Born and raised in Sacramento. Have a lovely family, lovely wife, and lovely daughter. She's 10 years old, so I know how strenuous the seasons can be, and we are definitely in it right now.
For sure, for sure. Yeah, no, we're all in the full swing. Well, thank you again, Nick, for coming on and chatting with us a little bit. I guess let's just kind of start off with you mentioned you're from Sacramento, right? That's where you're at right now. Maybe we can kind of just start off with not only where you're from, but kind of like your we don't got to go all the way to your birth year, but but kind of your you high school. Then we went to college. Out of college, where was your career leading you to, and then kind of what you were doing, kind of right before the acquisition of the CPA firm happened.
Oh yeah, definitely. So like I said, born and raised in Sacramento, so grew up here. I also went to McClatchy High School. It's a local high school in Land Park area. Played on the football team, played on the rugby team, played on.
Nice.
I did water polo. I did track and field. I did everything. I was a jock.
Nice. I love it, man. Hey, I played sports too. I love it. I love it.
It was great. And also growing up, my father, he's a business owner himself. He owns his own insurance agency, so I saw him raise his business up and ask questions and kind of get that entrepreneurial love of the game going at a young age. I've always wanted to be a business owner, and I always wanted to just bootstrap and do my own thing. And and I thought accounting was a safe bet when I was going through college. At first, I wanted to be an actuarial, but getting to the business calc during college, I was already struggling. I'm like, dude,
Yeah.
I got to do this for a profession. I'm like, no,
Yeah.
I like.
Actuarials have less of a sense of humor than accountants do.
Right.
I used to work at an insurance company a while back, and before all the acquisitions and stuff, and we used to poke fun. The CPAs in the accounting department would poke fun at the actuarial department. We would always be going back and forth with jabs. So you quickly went from deciding you didn't want actuarial. Where'd you go from there?
Yeah, I went well, at first when I went to college, I was the main thing I was looking to do was get a D2 scholarship for football, and so
Nice.
I went to a junior college, Sacramento City College, and I was on the football team. Broke my wrist.
Oh, what'd you play?
Fullback. Yeah, I was
Nice.
trying to play fullback. And then after that, just started working too. Um, the you know, it's kind of all fun and games until you start having to pay for your own stuff. And then I kind of, at that time, was leaning a little bit too hard on my parents. So I said, I gotta just do this on my own. So started working and didn't stop working throughout college. Got 3 or 4 degrees at the junior college, and then transferred over to Sac State, where I got my accounting degree. I played rugby for them for a season too. That was great.
Nice.
But then so it was crazy. It had to have been one of our last games, and we were playing against Stanford. Stanford's a really good rugby school. And after the game, I said, Coach, I gotta go. I can't play the rest of the season, because at that time I found out I was gonna have my daughter. So that kicked me in the butt into high gear, and I don't think I've ever really slowed down from that point. I think that was the precursor to how I currently operate in my mindset. I'm just gung ho. Like when you get someone that you got to provide for, you start ramping up. You start prioritizing.
I know, and Nick, I'll agree with you on that. I remember being a pretty selfish kid, I'll say, before kids came along. It was just all about the fun life and hanging with friends, and I used to DJ, so I was in the whole night scene and all of that stuff. So I remember when my wife came to me and she said, hey, we're expecting, and it just does something deep inside of you. There is just, and I don't know if this is like a parent thing or if this is like a father maybe thing or whatever, because you have that more of that provider, I don't know, instinct or whatever in you, but there's just something deep in you that happens, and it just flipped a switch where I was like, what am I gotta put my toys away, and I gotta go, go really provide now. So I definitely feel what you were saying there.
It's a primordial kind of like subconscious switch in your mind.
So what happened after you left the rugby team?
Oh, then so after that, I focused on trying to graduate as fast as possible, and I joined the accounting society at Sac State, and I also joined Beta Alpha Psi, which is a honorary fraternity at Sac State. And with those 2 organizations, I was able to meet like the big 4 firms, a lot of mid-sized firms in the region. They always have a Meet the Firms every year that they host, and I know a lot of organizations all around the U.S. still do that. And it was great to understand kind of the atmosphere and the culture of each of the firms and how they operate. But it was there was a lot of fluff. I be honest, like there is a lot of fluff, and going into one of those bigger firms, there's more of a potential upside after they grind you down to a pulp.
Right.
But
right.
You're going to have to work crazy, and if you're for that rat race, definitely do it. If you're a bachelor and all that, do it, because that's only going to advance you even faster.
Yeah.
But at the same time, when you have a family, when you have someone to take care of, you need to prioritize them too. And in this industry, work is a big priority in a lot of people's minds, and a lot of people put their livelihoods and their family to the side. To be honest, it's a little sad to think of that. And even though I didn't go to a huge firm, there is a lot of missed things that even I have done.
Yeah, mid-level firms will beat you to a pulp too.
Mhm, mhm.
So, okay, so you were looking at the Big Four.
Mhm.
I guess you graduated college, and where was the decision point? Where did it lead you?
Yeah, it led me to a decent mid-sized farm in Sacramento, and I worked there. I got an intern. Well, I got an intern. I had actually another internship before the bigger internship. The other internship was for audit. I liked audit at the time. I liked financials and talking to the CFOs and kind of all the big wigs and stuff and learning all this. I just love kind of looking at the structure of businesses and seeing how they operate. And it also that plays into tax too, but it's not really personified when you're going into tax that you can learn that stuff.
Right.
So I kind of had an like a want to go to audit first. So I did an internship there, and then I did an internship at a tax firm, and that led to a full-time position afterwards.
Nice.
That first season was probably one of the hardest seasons, other than last season. 70, 80 hours during the season, right out of college. Yeah.
Man. I mean, was the firm at least close to you? Were you traveling? Like, was it a long trek to get there?
No, it wasn't that far, but
Okay.
it was a hard.
But you're still there a lot.
Yep. I could remember there was this one specific day during that season I worked from 6 a.m. to 2 a.m.
Wow.
and then went and slept for 3 hours and then came back and then worked again.
Holy moly. Man, that is crazy.
I mean, going back,
Did things get better?
yeah, but I think it's self-imposed too because of how hungry I can be. It wasn't mandatory.
I'll say this, like, because I agree with you, and maybe it has to do something with, like, people, some people play competitive, whether it's sports or competitive functions or whatever, dance, cheer, whatever it may be. Like, I played football and track and basketball and stuff, and so there's this goal setting mentality, and I've talked about this before with a few friends. Like, you become so goal like focused because that's kind of what sports is, right? Like, I used to run the quarter mile in track, right? I need to get under a certain time, and you just obsess with it. And there's a good part, like there are good habits that get formed from those types of experiences. But then there's this other part, and I really wish, now look, God's plan always, everything happens for a reason. So I don't want to sit here and like regret things by any means. And I don't. But I don't know. I really wish somebody back in the day would have told me, hey, CJ, listen, just because you can do something doesn't mean you should do something. And when I was in work, or even, building up, I had a real estate company for a while as well. Like, it just was like, oh, well, I want to make $1 million this year. It's not should I, it was can I, or somebody at work, a boss or a manager would put a goal in front of me, and it was just, can you get this? And I was like a dog looking for a bone, right? And I really wish somebody would have peeled me back and just said, hey, like, what do you want to do? What are the things you should be like, is there something else out there that you could be spending this time on, or are you detrimental to your health right now, or your family, or whatever? Like, I think there's it's a blessing and a curse to be so goal focused, so goal oriented.
Yeah, I agree.
So you were there for a while. You said 10, I think it was 10 years, right?
No, I shifted around a little bit, just trying
Okay.
to understand what I wanted. So I did that for about a year, and then I was like, I want to try audit again. So I did audit, and I went and traveled around and did school district audits all around California.
Wow.
Then obviously living out of a suitcase and having a 2-year-old and watching her grow up on a cell phone, I'm like,
Oh man.
all right, let's go back to tax. So then I went and worked at another firm in Woodland, California, and
Okay.
they were much smaller, and they weren't as hard on me for hours. But at the same time, I was doing tax and audit for them because they saw that I had both experiences, and they did both. And it was from tax season to audit season because they had a lot of water districts, a lot of cities, and
Yeah.
a lot of local government agencies that had the 6/30 year end. So it progressed from one season to the next, and I couldn't really specialize at all. And then there was a split up in ownership, and decided that would be an opportune time to go look for something more sectored in tax, because after all that time, I'm like, I got to do tax. And right at the end too, I got my enrolled agent. During this whole time frame too, I was studying for my CPA. I passed 2 exams, and then they lapsed because I had to go to another season or, some other family obligation, and I just didn't have time.
That lapsed loop.
Yep. Yeah, and the whole there's a shift in time for reviewing the returns, and they're changing the exam, and then COVID, and it was just like I'm just gonna work, and I'm just gonna put my head down, and then after that, I'm like, I'm just gonna get my EA. So that's what I did, and I did it in the summer, and it was after having 7 years of experience with tax seasons. It was pretty easy. And then after that, I went and moved on to another firm just for a year. It was a firm out of Oakland, and that was great experience. Different mentality as well. Most of my experience was in the Central Valley of California. Then I worked for a firm in Oakland, and the rat race there is crazy. Just a different type of animal. And I was like, nah, okay, let's go let's go back to the Central Valley. So I went and after that experience, I went and worked at another place for about 3 years, and right off the bat, they actually saw what my experience was. I came in as a senior, and then after the first season, they put me in as manager. And I was manager for 3 years there. Great company, liked the culture, loved the partner that I worked under. And, they gave me a going away party when I told them that I was buying my own firm.
Oh, that's nice.
Accidentally bought Hennessy XO rather than Hennessy when we were out at the bar, and the partner was like, "Why is the bill like $500?"
That's a pricey drink.
I was like, "I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. This is the first time I ordered it."
No, so being a tax manager, that kind of gets us to the acquisition, Nick. And I know we were chatting about it, but when you and I first started talking, I don't remember. Do you remember how you ended up finding?
It was like the week right after the season ended.
Gotcha.
Yeah, after this last year,
and you were just fed up.
I was just like, I just want to the entrepreneurial craving in my soul, and just kind of if I'm gonna put in, I mean, I'm not bagging on anyone on their age. I'm in my early 30s, but I'm thinking, how long can I maintain this? I know the prior generation, they maintained it for a long time, but I don't know if I can. I want to do that, right? So if I'm going to be putting in time, it needs to be some type of equity holding in something, right?
Right. No, Nick, I mean, you're talking about something that I've been really focused on here lately. I just turned 38, and you know, definitely not a young spring chicken anymore. And not too long ago, actually, like 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, I think I let everybody know in the community that I took my life insurance exam just because. And by the way, I think that's a very complimentary thing you might look into. You got the clients already. And so anyway, I did it for the firm. I did it for the clients because there is a big need for people to have that out there, and there's just not a lot of people offering it. At least not people they trust, right? So we have the trust. Use the trust to you know, add other revenue streams. But anyway, and I my bad habit all the way through high school, undergrad, grad, CPA exams, just everything. My bad habit was always procrastination, but I was, you know, I guess blessed enough to be a really good test taker, you know. And so I could cram a lot in a little amount of time and still pass. And for this last life insurance exam, it's not hard information by any means. It's just a lot. It's like, at least in Texas, it's like 150 questions. And so I didn't know a ton about insurance. So I took 5 days, I blocked it off, not fully, but as much as I could. And I studied for 5 days and I took the exam. And listen, you know, thank you, you know, to the good Lord above that I passed. But when I came home, I told my wife, I was like, I'm not like, my body cannot do that anymore. Like that was not the right move anymore. Like it took me a few days, man, to kind of just like feel like myself again, right? So if I did smoke cigarettes, I'd have gone through about 20 packs in 5 days. But it really resonates me with what you said. Like at some point, you know, we all get a little older, a little longer in the tooth, and at some point you got to ask yourself, what am I building as far as equity for myself, legacy for myself? Am I always just going to be working for somebody else and being afraid every single day that they're going to can me and now I got to go look for something else? And you know, I definitely resonate with that. At some point, you know, it's like, hey, maybe I should figure out how to do things where I'm building the equity, and along the way, maybe get a little more time freedom as well, right? And I know, Nick, when we talked, you know, when you first decided to join the community, that was a big part of our conversation at the time. I remember you telling me like I just pulled 70-hour, you know, 80-hour work weeks nonstop for months. And I'm just done with this, you know. And I remember you telling me like I'm missing the family time. I'm not my mental health, my physical health, all the things were just kind of adding up and taking a toll. And I really felt that, you know. You know, I remember you just saying it's just time for me to look for something else. So let's jump into this acquisition journey. You joined the community, and you were like a bulldog, man. You just came in and you just soaked up all the information at a real fast clip, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I treated your program as a part-time job. I definitely say that. Yeah.
Nice.
You know, I just diving into all the material, trying to be on as many Wednesday classes as possible, and then going through the list of like every firm, and then using your calculation for like, I know you're saying like you always have a parameter on the area where you should be looking, but I was looking
Right.
everywhere.
We
I just
stretched
wanted
that out.
well, I just wanted perspective too, right? You know,
Right.
I just want to, because there's like certain sectors within, I mean, just speaking for California, there's like, it's like anywhere on the coast is like, you know, it's more sought out after, right? You go
Got you.
San Francisco down, you have different parts of the Bay. then you go down to like, uh, the Malibu coast all the way to LA like that. And that little L shape right there is like really renowned. And I'm centrally located as well in Sacramento, but the amount of like, everyone's always asking like, oh, should you stay in California? Right? Cost of living is like crazy. Well, cost of living is crazy, but opportunity is also crazy too, right?
Yeah, it's like New York as well.
Right. Exactly. So you want to be in those high moving, high paced, expensive areas. And that's what I was also looking at too when I was doing my broad scope of looking at all the firms. But yeah, going back to it, I watched your classes. I did all that, and I was going through the accounting sales practice and pulling those documents and doing your calculation that you had on your Excel. And then I went ahead and pulled the P10 list, and I started like looking at firms and doing my own analysis and just trying to get a basis. And I found one firm that was in Vallejo, and the guy was really nice. Like I went and I reached out to the guy, and I met him a couple times, and I don't know if I told you. I don't know if I told you about this one, but
I don't remember that one.
It didn't span to what I thought would be a good fit for me. He's really nice, really good, but just doing in-person tax returns and just like that old school kind of way.
Yeah.
And like, and it was just himself. And I'm like, okay, I just want to get my feet wet too before I started meeting people that I really wanted to
That's a
to
really
acquire
good
as well.
approach. That's a good approach, Nick, because a lot of people think like, I don't talk to anybody, and then when that golden firm comes along, I'm gonna go talk to them, and somehow I'm gonna be a master conversationalist, and I'm gonna know how to build rapport and know all the things to say. There's a saying that we got here in Texas that says, and you've heard me say this: you can't make good barbecue until you make bad barbecue, right? And that goes along with this too. I love that approach. I know for me, it's the same thing. Like, let me go have some conversations and just make a total, donkey of myself by messing up and saying the wrong things and all of that. But I'll prepare myself that way when that golden firm comes along. I'm a little more familiar with it, right? So I actually really love that approach. So you landed on a deal that caught your eye. The sim kind of caught your eye.
Oh,
I guess go ahead.
sorry, just to backtrack too.
Yeah.
So that was a second firm owner that so there's three firm
okay.
owners. The third one is the one that I currently
Third time's a
purchased.
charm.
So I forgot to elaborate a little bit more. I missed a gap of time. But I have a couple colleagues that I worked with, and they own their own firms actually. And one of the individuals, he purchased his own firm through accounting sales practice, and he actually bought, I think, one or two more. And he's just growing, and the way he's growing is completely different than what I'm doing. But at one time last year, right after the season, I went to go look at a firm to do like a 50-50 kind of deal with them, and to
I
get
do
into
remember
his
you
firm.
talking about that one.
Right, and it was in Idaho. And I'm in California, and we went out, and it was cool. I've never been to Idaho. Very different.
You ain't missing much, I don't think.
Not completely. It's very similar to like Northern California.
Gotcha.
Like the break is like Roseville, and up is kind of it's a different atmosphere in California. And it was pretty similar in Idaho as well. But yeah, just meeting that firm owner, she's like the Vallejo one that I was talking to you about, very hands-on, doing stuff in the office with the clients, and just like how would this work out? And it just, no. I mean, there's an extent to that with what I'm doing currently, but there's more of a barrier.
And there's more infrastructure, and it sounds like they're a little more well trained, I'll say, the
Oh, yeah.
client base.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So that was two owners that you had kind of gotten in the batter's box, so to speak,
Mhm.
and you had taken some swings at them. Do you think those two experiences allowed for you to have a pretty organic and productive conversation with the third firm owner?
Oh, yeah. And I kind of went in it with those two just without kind of the training from your videos too. And then I started my experience from those. I wanted to learn a little bit more so I can be, I'm not the best salesman. Obviously, this industry isn't like, I mean, that's something that I need to internally grow because now I'm a firm owner and now I need to kind of show my value and be essentially get more revenue, right? I mean, you have to
Right.
do that to be to be a
Right.
salesperson to do that in a sense,
Grow
not
the
just
business.
a technician. And this industry only teaches you to be a technician when
That's right.
when you're at that lower level.
Yep.
But yeah, going back to that, I was watching some of your videos on kind of the mental. It's not mental gymnastics, but it's more of a perception on how you communicate and communication styles. And I really took that to heart.
Conversation framework. Yeah.
Exactly. The whole mirroring, the just layers of that. And I use that.
Did you find that useful?
Oh yeah. Yeah, it helped me
That's
a lot.
good.
It helped me a lot with this guy, the current owner that I not current owner, the prior owner now. I'm the current owner.
Yeah. You gotta get used to saying that now. I slip up sometimes too. So I want to dive into Nick, because your story it was like Nick, when he talks about his tenacity, like you're about to understand how much tenacity this guy has. It was like, if I have to, part the Red Sea right now, I'm gonna get this deal done. Nick, I think you and I had chatted a couple of times because, all of the community members, that's part of the deal, right? I'm here for you guys. And I think we had chatted a little bit before you were maybe having that conversation. And then I guess we talked, or take us through it. We talked and there was some crazy sequence of events that happened for the LOI.
Oh yeah. I believe I had put it together and I had just meet the guy in person and I brought my family down there as well to do my first meeting with them. And we went and had lunch. It was great. And then after that, there was definitely a connection.
Just real quick, I do want you to dive into how that conversation, when you were with you and the family, how that conversation went. But go ahead, you were about to say something right before that.
Actually, even before that, too, accounting sales practice gave me the phone number for the prior owner, and we had meaningful conversations. We had I don't think it was below an hour and a half every conversation, but we had about 2 or 3 of those calls.
I remember when we talked on the phone one time, and you're like, CJ, I mean, I've had 2 or 3 hour and a half, 2-hour conversations with this guy already, and I'm like, holy moly, you're onto something here. Like, that is indicative of some very strong rapport and connection building.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think you need to have those types of conversations too, just so you internally can feel comfortable, because there's a whole other sector during the deal, at the end of the deal, that whole thing, it can get very, very like, not bitter, but it can be very tumultuous in a manner. And if you don't have a gut feeling that, this will actually be good for both you guys and you can eventually work with this guy too, because, I'm, if he just up and quit, like that would be detrimental to the whole practice, the whole everything, the deal, the clients, just his legacy as well. So, talking to him, getting to know him personally on a personal level, not just technical things. I don't think it was like 10 to 20% was actually talking about the deal. Like it had nothing to do with the deal itself. It was literally getting to know who he is.
I love that.
So going back to the the whole LOI. So talked to him for a couple times, then went out and met him with my family and had some lunch, and it was a great chat. And I created the LOI, and I was like, I don't know if I should send it before I go on this cruise to Mexico. And then I got a call from you and Brandon saying, do it. I'm like, okay. And then Priscilla, my wife, she said, before we went on that vacation, she's like, you're not bringing your laptop because you are going on family vacation and you're not going to work during that time.
Right.
Like, okay, sure. I'll be good. I'll be good. I'll be a good husband. But when we were driving down to LA, I had this conversation with you and Brandon on the phone in the car. So she was listening to it. And she said, and right after the conversation ended, I was like, we need to find somewhere where I can send this off. And we're staying at a hotel called the Queen Elizabeth or the Queen Mary. It's the decommissioned ship that was like traveling back and forth from England to LA. And it's like a hotel, like I guess it's haunted or some items. It kind of looks like The Shining in the hallway, but I didn't my feet weren't tickled and but I was like, all right, let's call them up and see if they have like a computer desk or something.
Yeah. And Nick, really quickly, I remember telling you, because I don't know if it was a 4 or 5, 7 day cruise or whatever, and you had sent me the LOI, we reviewed it, and I'm like, dude, this is awesome. You have great connection and rapport with this guy. Like the stars have just aligned up, my friend. And you're like, yeah, I'm, didn't bring anything with me, so I'll just send it when I get back. And I'm like, listen, there's a saying in business that says time kills all deals. And I would hate for you to get back from that cruise and this guy says I went with somebody else for whatever reason, right? And I just wanted a little more like oomph, up front. Let's figure out how we can do it. And my hat's off to you, because I'll be honest, I'm like, it's probably too little too late. Like his wife told him, don't bring the laptop. They're literally driving to their vacation right now. It's probably too little too late. But Nick was like, not so fast, my friend.
Nope. Yeah, so we called up the hotel and they're like, no, we don't have a computer desk. And I'm like, well, do they even have like those internet cafes? Like, like kind of like if you go travel abroad, a lot of places still have them. And I'm like, let's look it up. Nothing. I'm like, all right, let's go to Best Buy. Let's go buy a laptop. All right. Go buy a laptop. And brought it back to the hotel because they had Wi-Fi. But it's on an old cruise. And I'm like, it's so spotty. And I made all those changes that you were kind of depicting during their conversation. And then I try to send it. And I'm like, it's not sending. I'm like, oh no. And I had to go to the hotel's in the decommissioned ship, and there was a porthole, and I was putting the laptop on the porthole, and I was like, da 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 da, and it sent, and I was like, ooh, that was
that was funny.
something.
Oh man. So yeah, so guys, Nick just decided that the best alternative was I'm out of options. I'm going to Best Buy. I'm buying a brand new laptop. Did you keep that laptop or did you return it?
I returned it.
I returned it. Hopefully there's no Geek Squad members listening to this call. but, no, but bought the laptop, got it all set up, got the LOI changes made, and was literally at the little porthole trying to get enough signal to click that little send button to fire off his LOI. I absolutely love that. And then I think Nick, when you came back from how long, like when you came back from your cruise, did you receive the signed LOI?
Within that week,
Okay.
right after I came back.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. Well, let's dive into a little bit more of the technical side of it, Nick. The numbers a little bit more. How much you bought it for? How much was revenue kind of at? And this is all just at the point of acquisition, right? But purchase price, how much revenue was it doing? How many clients there were, and maybe some of the services that they offered at the time. And then the deal structure itself, seller financing, SBA, stuff like that.
Yeah, so I specifically went with this deal based on kind of your framework on ensuring that the seller still has some skin in the game to ensure that this is a good, proper transaction that will last, that I'm not going to be holding the bag when shit hits the fan, per se. And not have him still involved in everything at a reasonable price that I can still, because I'm not working anywhere else. This is me. This is what I'm doing. This is everything that is going to be coming to me. So I need to make sure I can still provide for my family based on this deal. And I'm still working hard on that. Wanting to make sure that does work out, but we layered it to allow some working capital as well. So, there's not going to be like, I don't need to take that personal loan just to survive right now. So there's some stuff that will help the flow of the business still go right now. But going back to the structure of the deal, the structure of the deal is 70% SBA, 30% seller's finance. And based on the change that the SBA made in the middle of last year, the 5% couldn't be 2 years. So the whole deal of the seller holding a portion of the sales price as being a contingency that he didn't need to put in that 5%, me put in that 5%, because originally it would have been 10%.
Right. The full standby, it used to be 24 months, and now it's in the middle of last year it changed to the full standby. 5% of the deal had to be on a full standby. The seller can't touch it. Instead of 24 months, they changed it back to the life of the loan, which an SBA loan is 120 months. So that was like something we had to make sure we incorporated into the deal.
Right. Yeah. And he was worried. The seller was kind of confused about that too. And I just explained to him, the structure of the SBA's telling me to do this. And if I don't, then this will be a humongous contribution on my end. And, I'm young. I'm got to provide for my family. I can't really give all that money up right now. And, he was understandable in that manner. It's just,
so in the deal, there was still a 5% down payment that you had
Mhm.
to bring to the table because we got 5% covered by basically 95% almost, right? So that all of that's covered by seller financing and SBA. For that 5%, because I know you were wanting to do a $0 down acquisition,
Yep.
how did you cover your 5%?
I was able to get a SoFi loan for 80K. Um, so I'm glad I was able to get beyond the 5% too, because there needed to be a structure of having post closing funds as well on top of that by the qualifications for the SBA. So they want to see that there's money in your account, that 5% for a couple months, just maturing. But they also want to see that you have a little cushion for post closing costs as well.
Right, right, right. So yeah, and that basically Nick used what we call the lending stack hack. It was stacking three loans on top of each other. Normally it's seller financing, SBA financing, and then cash down. But the lending stack hack does seller financing, SBA financing, and then using outside financing for the down payment instead of cash. So Nick, how much was the purchase price again for this firm?
875, I believe,
875,000. We
or
got it down to zero
850.
dollars out of pocket.
Yeah,
850.
yeah.
Okay, $850,000. We got it down to $0 out of pocket. No money out of your own pocket, which is amazing. How much revenue was the firm doing at the time of acquisition or at the time of LOI, I guess?
About 700.
700. So there was a little premium on this.
Mhm.
And then, okay, so 30% seller financing as well, which I love. I think 20% seller financing tends to be like my floor. And I think we talked about that a little bit. But I remember you saying, you know what? I'm gonna go with the 30, and if we can't make it work, we can't make it work. I think that's a very reasonable number, and I think the seller understands that there needs to be some skin in the game from them as well. So yeah, no, I think that was perfect. Were there any issues other than the standby that the seller had?
Um, so we got the LOI signed. It was kind of the proximity of what he wanted. And then he's a busy guy. So he actually let it lapse. And then, but we still had a good deal. Like I knew we were going to go through with it, even though it was July of last year. And it took
Yeah.
until February of this year to close the deal. So
Yeah.
it took a while,
Yeah.
but during that time frame, I kind of came back and said, well, he came back and he was like, well, I have all this revenue this year. Let's close next year. And I'm like, I'd rather like to close this year. And then I was like, okay, well, here's a different proposal. Can you take more of a note then? And then it was like back and forth. And then at the end, it was just like, just working hard to get the deal done.
Yeah.
But we kept the same type of agreement from the first off.
So, yeah, and Nick's seller was, and you'll find this, it's common. They're very busy. They tend to put these things on the back burner because there's a lot of information that the bank needs from them, right? There's information that Nick will need for his own due diligence. There's information the attorneys need. I mean, and you're adding all of that on top of somebody that's pretty busy, right? So it took a while. I remember Nick just like, man, this guy is just such a turtle when it comes to getting everything that we need. And then the holidays came around, and I think you even had like final word, like commitment from the bank, like everything was literally ready to go, except the seller just wanted to close in 26 now instead of 2025. What I think there was this creative kind of structure or I guess characteristic of the deal that Nick implemented just to kind of start getting familiar with the staff and the clients and stuff like that. Because I remember you saying like, I don't want to go cold into a January closing or whatever, and just not having been familiar with things. So I think it was in November, maybe, when you came up with an arrangement with the seller to allow you to start getting ingrained in the clients and the firm and the staff and all of that. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I guess going back when that LOI lapsed, and so there was another part too, other than just me giving them a potential new structure. I also said, okay, well, I thought the deal was going to close a little bit earlier, and this would be my firm by the end of the year, but it's not. So I need to ensure that I have the comfort going into the season and knowing staff, and the clients before we go through with this. So I'm going to be quitting my job at this time, which was the end of November, and I would like you to pay me my same salary that I was making in my last firm until we close a deal. And he agreed. And that's what
That is awesome.
what happened.
That's creative deal structuring right there. I love that. I love that. But that allowed you, Nick, right, to get in there and kind of get processes, understanding of softwares and systems and staff and all of that.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, would you say that did worlds for you?
Oh, yeah. It did. It did. Yeah.
Awesome.
I would not be as comfortable right now if I didn't do that.
So we get to closing, and again, Nick and I had recently discussed this as well. But what does a day in the life, what does a week in the life of Nick look like now as the official firm owner, versus the 70, 80 hours a week, that you were getting slammed with back then? Take me through a typical week in Nick's life now.
Typical week now is I go to the office Monday and Tuesday. It's about a 3-hour drive. So it's a little bit hard, but it's only 2 days in the office. The other 5 days, working from home. Not every Saturday and Sunday, but there's been other things too that I was not fully aware of as a business owner, putting on multiple hats, but it does not feel as daunting as my last job. I
Because
feel
it's your own,
a lot more
thing now
accomplished.
too.
Exactly. Like business owner, it's also going to help my career too. I feel so empathetic for all these clients that are business owners as well. I know what they're going through, and it's like a different perception on reality of the day in and day out of having, either the pressure or, the responsibility of being a business owner and all these other little mini tasks that you have to do during the day that makes it like your list of things that you want to accomplish, only like one or two you get done, right?
Right. Absolutely.
But yeah, I mean, it's wonderful. I love it. Yeah. And
Nick, can I ask you, so you're basically in the office 2 days, rest of the week you're at your home, at your office at home. It, like, from a personal time freedom, kind of having more little moments with your family, is that definitely a drastic improvement and change from where you were versus your corporate job?
I mean, I went and helped my daughter out at her. I took the Thursday off and just completely didn't really care about it. I mean, the operations are great at my firm, and everyone handles their stuff, and they can always contact me if needed. But was it last Thursday? I went and helped at my daughter's field trip, and it was an all day thing, all night thing. Actually, I didn't stay all night, but what they did was go stay at Sutter's Fort. It's like a little fort that was one of the main stopping points in Sacramento. It's a historic site. It's all the fourth grade classes around Sacramento go to it and do it overnight. So it was a great it was a great field trip, and I was happy to help out, and I didn't feel like I was missing out on any work at all.
Yeah.
So
And I would even say, Nick, because like, look, I mean, I think everybody that's in the owner's box, there is a bit of working hard, especially right now during tax season, especially the fact that you just acquired it and you're still kind of getting everything up and running. So I think more what I've come to appreciate, and I think as you go, you'll notice this, is yeah, I'm at home, I'm in my office, and I'm working 100 miles an hour, but I can step out for 15, 20 minutes, go hang out with the family, go just be silly with them for a little while, 30 minutes if I want to. And then I'll come back to the office, get the things done that I want to get done. That is totally different than being at an office from 6 a.m. till 2 a.m.
right,
Right. And so, just from me to you, like, be grateful for, because they're not significant. Like, it's not something to write home to mama about, those little moments. If anything, sometimes these little rugrats get on my nerves, if nothing else. But it truly is those little moments, right, that we do all of this for. Hey, Dad, can you come help me, or can you come look at my artwork that I did today, or throw a baseball with me, or whatever it may be. I can unplug. It's my choice to unplug and go break for 30 minutes or do whatever, come back. Then later on, hey, we're getting ready for kind of dinner time or bedtime and prayer time and all that other stuff. Like, though, that right there is what it was all about. Right. That's what it was all about right there. And the fact that you only got to be, in the office 2 days, it's definitely something to just keep in mind, and focus on those moments, right? Because man,
right.
they go fast. They go
Oh
really
yeah,
fast.
right. And then like kind of how I said earlier, it's putting in the work so you can reap the rewards later as well too. So right now I'm working on a lot of procedural things and making sure our systems are good and accurate, and the flow of the intake and outtake is good for this year as well too, and then ongoing as well, because it takes a while. Like you said that in a lot of your classes, it's going to take 2 to 3 years before you can finally do a lot of these steps. But in the immediate, like putting in a little bit before the season, just to make it flow easier and to create accountability for everyone, and to allow your firm to operate in a really good, efficient manner. I mean, that's how. I mean, we talked about this in the last meeting, but potentially it could be an increase of a fourth of the revenue if this process that I'm incorporating actually works this year. So
Yeah.
things like that, I'm like, I'm going to be sitting on the beach for all summertime, if that occurs.
Yes. No, I love that. And just for context, guys, Nick is working on just, I'm going to call it low hanging fruit modernization, professionalization, not to minimize what Nick is doing, but all of us, none of us are Steve Jobs. We're just willing enough to take these really dinosaur, old school process firms and just take them into the 21st century, if you will. And just by doing some very little things, some pricing structures, some different tiered options with ignition and stuff, I mean, he's projecting a potential of an increase of 25%, right? 25% in revenue, right? That he's going to increase the firm by just by doing these small little changes. And I want to remind everybody, these little changes flow straight through to the bottom line. So his profit is going to be, I don't know, maybe 40 or 50% because it just drops all the way down. There's no additional expenses included in what he's doing right now. So I think that is a strong testament to there's these levers that you can pull on when you buy these firms that can add a lot of money very quickly. I know we increased prices. I think it was like $35 across the board or something in our first tax season with this one firm. And it resulted in like 50 grand straight to the bottom line, you know? So little things that Nick's doing is it's going to take him so far. And like you said, by the time summertime comes around, he's going to be hanging out on the beach, man, just relaxing and living life. Nick, let me ask you something. When we first talked way back when, did you think that buying a firm was a reality? And then also, did you think maybe acquiring a firm for no money out of pocket was a reality for you?
No. I mean, getting being a partner has always been the carrot the carrot on the string, or the carrot on the stick, right? You know, always all the partners like, oh yeah, you could be in my shoes one day, right? Like, okay, when is that? How vague can you be by stating the end goal without any predictable kind of like idea of when that will be?
Right. Yeah.
But for being a firm owner, owning my own firm and doing it the way that you helped me and guided me to do, I did not think it was possible.
Man, that's awesome. That's awesome, Nick. So let's just talk about the community real quick. Because look, the reality of it is this, Nick. There's people watching us right now that are on the fence. You know, they might be a tax manager just like you. They might be stuck in public accounting or just in private, or you know, maybe they're a small firm owner, but they're getting whipped and they're frustrated and they're kind of wondering, they're having that same feeling that you had of like, there's got to be more, right? Like, I feel like I'm in this dead end loop. How do I get out of this? How do I get fulfillment? What would you like? What's your message to those people out there, whether it's just in general, whether it's about the community, any of that stuff?
Don't belittle yourself. You can do it. You can achieve it. I achieved it. You know, CJ's achieved it. Brandon's achieved it. Just all it takes is the effort and putting your foot forward. You know what they say about going to the gym, you know, half the work is just actually arriving, right? So it's a different mindset, and you just need to pull yourself out of the regular grind to allow yourself to be sellable, right? And have a mindset as well to achieve this, because you know, perception is reality. You get it's so easy just to get stuck in your normalcy and your normal job and the normal structure of what this industry has. But just pull yourself out and look at yourself in a third person's perspective, and you know, see the forest through the trees. You know, where do you want to be in the next 5 to 10 years? And is the path that you're currently on going to allow you to achieve those goals?
Right. What about Nick? Just as far as people that are maybe on the fence, maybe they've come across the community, maybe they've just kind of put it on the back burner. Maybe they think it's a scam altogether. I don't know. But what are your thoughts on the community? Your review on the community, and would you recommend it to people?
I would definitely recommend it to anyone that's had a couple of seasons on under their belt. Anyone that's, I mean, even auditors too. I don't know why you would want to wear an audit firm, but
We don't know about you auditors.
Yeah, it's definitely not a scam. They've been more than helpful, and CJ and Brandon have been the guiding light through this whole process, and I couldn't recommend them anymore.
Awesome. Awesome. Nick, if you want, let's plug your firm, plug your services and, kind of let everybody know. There it is right there. ARC Tax and Advisory. I love it. Got the merch and everything. Yeah, tell everybody a little bit about your services, where they can find your website or even find you online.
Yeah, so we have an office in Capitola, California, which is in Santa Cruz County, right on 41st Street. And we also have a office in Sacramento as well on K Street. The services we provide are tax and advisory. It's part of the name, but it's we're not just compliance. We want to allow small business owners and individuals to grow with us, and for us to be part of the community and be integral to someone you can trust and talk to and advise, and also grow as a friend as well.
Awesome. Is there a website that they can find you at?
Yeah, it's at ARC, A-R-C, Tax and Advisory.com.
Awesome. ArcTaxandAdvisory.com. Actually, Nick sent it to me the other day. It's pretty slick. I like it. It looks real nice, professional. The team is on there. Nick is on there looking all snazzy. It's really well built. Okay. Well, is there anything else that you kind of want to let people know, before we wrap up, Nick? I mean, again, I want you to understand that there is another Nick out there watching this right now, and you have the opportunity to tell that other Nick something that might help him or her along on their journey. So anything as we wrap up?
Make the effort. Try out CJ's system. Contact him and learn a little bit. It's all about learning something that you didn't know yesterday, right? You always have to be growing, and this is a different version of growing. So if you're on the fence, just make a little choice. That's it. That's all I ask.
Awesome.
Little step.
Awesome. Nick, last question for you. Was it worth it?
It was worth it.
100%. Love it. I love it. All right. Well, let's go ahead and wrap up. Nick, thank you so much for sharing your journey. As I've said already a couple of times, you are going to be an inspiration to a lot of people watching this. And I'm really happy for everything that you've been able to accomplish. And don't get it wrong, guys. I'm definitely here as support for Nick, but he was the one who went out there and made it happen. And so I don't want to take anything away from Nick. I was here to guide him, advise him, and provide support, but it ultimately came from Nick and his tenacity and his ambition. So really proud of you, Nick. I'm excited for what the future holds for you. I have a hunch this may not be your last acquisition, so really excited for what's going to happen in the future. And
0%
we'll be
down.
Talking. Yes,
0% down for
for those that don't know, your second acquisition with the SBA is 100% financed. So I think Nick, after this tax season, is probably going to go start window shopping a little bit and seeing what's out there. So yeah, this won't be the last time that you hear from Nick, guys. We'll talk to y'all later. Remember, it's a cruel world. but we're better together. We'll see you later.